Today we're doing some Touge racing, which is basically just downhill racing where you try and stay with the car in front or you try and drive away from the car behind you. Rather simple, and if you can overtake him or whoever, you basically won. Although this is a big server where you have plenty of people crashing or spinning out or causing a ruckus. So the rules are a bit different, meaning there aren't really any rules, as the GT86 in front of us does a sick drift. And drinking game for today, if I say 86 or 86, you have to take a shot or drink a beer or whatever. You're going to be very drunk at the end of the video. And you can see another 86, although it being an A86, in front of the GT86, as I take a horrid line through that corner. Yeah, the 86 is pulling away a bit, but the lead 86 is locking up, and the 86 in front of us is running a bit wide. So now we have to try and overtake him as he opens up the inside. And can we make it stick? We can. Now I need to try and get the A86 in front. And the 86 smashed into our car, causing us to have a horrid exit and the 86 in front to drive away, which is not what we want to see. And this corner is very deadly. If you've ever played on this track, you know why. And the 86 locked up and ended up in the barrier, but he keeps on going. Now we've got a lifeline. We can actually try and race him again as I overdrive the car. And speaking of overdriving, I whip out a sick drift, which is of course not what we want to see, because that loses a lot of speed. And I really do tend to overdrive cars when I try and catch up to someone, which is a very bad habit of mine. But still, we have to keep going. We need to try and catch the 86, because that is the purpose of the server. As I lost control again. This really poor driving of me. You hate to see it. So now the 86 is approximately 5 kilometers ahead of me, which isn't ideal, but it's very helpful that he decided to crash into the barrier, which gives me another lifeline. So now we have another chance at actually getting close to the guy, as I have another poor exit. Just very horrible driving of mine, I must admit. Now I run wide and meet my fate in the barrier. So we're battling another 86, and I'm already running wide, which isn't what you want to see. And if I stopped driving like a complete idiot, I would probably stand a chance at winning. But here we are. So first corner, he runs very wide and disappears, teleporting to the Shadow Realm, it seems. But luckily there's a car behind us, another 86. The drinking game is really going to kill a couple of you guys today, I suppose. We let him pass so we can chase him, because it's probably a lot more viewable to watch someone chase a guy than to just drive with clear road ahead. And by me wearing the Max Verstappen hat, I should have superpowers on this track, but I do not. And the 86 is getting a bit of distance between us, which isn't what we want to see. But he runs wide and teleports to another dimension. Very interesting scenes on Assetto Corsa. And another 86. And there you have the forbidden driving technique, the upside down Touge attack. And you see some sick drifting in front. And this guy didn't really want to race, he just wanted to drift a bit. And he let me go. So that was basically that. And now the drinking game finally ends, because we've got an RX7 and a 370Z ahead. And this line that we're taking is a lot better than the one we took before, because I wasn't as wide, as the RX7 decided to turn right on a straight. So now it's just the 370Z and me. And he also runs very wide. But funnily enough, Our exit speed was still poor, so we weren't able to catch up immediately. But I reckon we are probably a bit quicker than him, given that he messed up the first couple of corners and decided to do some landscaping. And on these Touge maps you really need to get the hairpins right, because if you mess them up, your exit speed is going to suck, and then you have the situation that we have right now, him pulling away, even though that's not really my fault, because the 370Z is definitely more powerful than the RX7. He has got the advantage on the straights. But still, the race is very close. As soon as we reach something like a hairpin, we gain on him, as is demonstrated in this corner. And my line wasn't as good, but he was in front, so I wasn't really able to do a lot there. And again, he's pulling away on the straight. And this is still a very deadly corner. And here we get into a bit of a slide, having a bit of a moment. But this bit is probably where we're going to get him. He's making some mistakes, bouncing about, breaking the laws of physics, running very wide. And I think it's just a matter of time until he crashes out. And not crashing out in the sense that some of the YNs would think of right now, as he bounces into the barrier and disappears. And the next race is going to be with an RX7, which is always nice to see. Equal machinery means that it's just a driver difference if somebody wins or loses. So this time I will not be able to just say, oh, his car's quick on the straight, that's why he's gaining, or that is why I'm losing to him. And now the RX7 is already pulling away a bit because of my sloppy exit. Here I'm understeering a bit, clipping the curb like an idiot. And he's hitting a Tokyo drift into the barrier, and here we are again. So it's a common theme of this video, poor driving of mine and poor driving of my opponents, as I clip the curb again, like a complete idiot. But this line was a lot better than his, so we've gained a lot. And we should be able to make something happen now. But we didn't, because I took the corner way too slowly. And somebody apparently had a moment, judging by all the smoke that was still present. It was very interesting to see that the RX7 ahead tries to drift all these corners. Some people say that it's quicker to drift them, at least on the Touge. Of course, if you were on a proper racetrack where the roads are not as narrow, drifting wouldn't be a very smart thing to do. But here, you could argue that, at least for some corners, it's quicker. And still very careful through this corner, because it could spill your end very quickly. And another Tokyo drifting moment, but he ran very wide. So it was kind of an equal error of both of us. But the battle with the RX7 was one of the more enjoyable ones, because we were rather equal in terms of messing up all the time, and also in terms of not being complete garbage at the game, because some people on this server, they aren't really good, including me, but I'm not as bad as some of the other guys. So still, the RX7 is ahead, and he's pulling away because his exit speed was way better than mine, and that really kills you on this part of the track. So fast forwarding ahead, trying to make something happen, but he made something happen. He turned right on a left-hander, giving us the victory. So once more, the drinking game resumes. 2 8.6s in front. And you don't need to take 2 shots, because I only said the drinking word once. So there you have a proper drift, ending in disaster, spinning out like a Beyblade. And that is the first 8.6 taken care of. Now we need to get the second. But admittedly, the 8.6 is the fastest car on this map, and it's not just a stock 8.6, it's a tuned one. So it has proper suspension, more power, and it's very lightweight, perfectly suited for this map. Although the RX7 is also very good for this map. So if I lose to this car in front, I'm not going to say, oh, his car was better. It would just be, yeah, he drove better than me. But he smashed into a barrier and disappeared into another dimension, so he didn't drive better than me. And after a while we decided to swap to the MX-5 as a bit of a challenge, if we could make something happen in the slowest car on this map. And the Supra has more than double the power than we do. And it's really apparent that the tires of the MX-5 are not good. The car's on street tires and it's going to be very difficult to overtake someone. But that Supra is driving very poorly, so if we can make this happen, the challenge is completed. And he smashed into the barrier, we passed him. We're going to make this count. We're going to let this count, not make this count. We're gonna let this count. And we immediately switched into the R34 GTR because the MX-5 is just so slow. We've got no chance at winning anything in that car. Which is funny for me to say because I do drive an MX-5 in real life. Although, unfortunately, I do not drive it on the Japanese mountain roads, but in Germany. And I do not race in my MX-5, but drive to uni and get groceries, as we overtake the 8.6 and the GTR, which isn't that hard to do because the GTR is just so good, even though it's very heavy. So yeah, that is basically it for today. That's all I wanted to show you, and I will probably keep more of these videos coming, and my driving will hopefully improve. So thanks for watching, and until next time.